So greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an honor and a privilege to have you guys joining me here today. Bunch of friends standing around a virtual water cooler talking about our favorite things in the world, movies, entertainment, whatever it is you guys want to talk about. It's Open Mic. Now, in the mornings at 8:30 in the morning, we do the John Campea Show. That's our main movie news show. And we save a few minutes for some live questions. But here on Open Mic, that's all we do is take live questions. And we're close to Comic-Con, guys. Can't believe it. I'm leaving for Comic-Con in less than a week. Next Wednesday, I'm going to do the John Campea Show. And as soon as we're done the John Campea Show, me and fact-checker Jonathan, Ray, we're all loading into some cars, driving out to San Diego for Comic-Con. And we're going to be down there for a few days. Really looking forward to it. I hope some of you guys can be down there too, and I get a chance to bump into some of you while we're there. Okay. With all that out of the way, let's jump into the live questions. That's all we're going to do for the rest of the day. And the first live question here today comes us from Brian Esparza, who writes, play us a quick tune on the guitar. You know what? I'm never completely adverse to picking up the guitar. However, I was just fiddling with the guitar like 2 days ago, and I've actually got it sealed up in the case back there. Sometimes I just have my guitar out, but right now it's sealed in the case back there, so it would take me a minute or two to pull it out, so I'm not going to waste dead screen time on that. But ask me again another time. I may have it out and available at another time. All right, Murray Reiche writes, what happened to the companion video from yesterday? Oh, I already explained that on the show this morning. So I was going to do a companion video last night. However, one or two things came up that prevented me from being able to do that. On top of that, the whole IAW TV Award nominations got announced, and as I talked about this morning, I got announced for a couple of things, so I was on a phone a lot. So on top of everything else, I just didn't have time to get around to them yesterday. So I am going to be doing them this afternoon, so you're going to probably see, I'm probably going to break them up. So you're going to see the first companion video probably go up tonight around midnight or early tomorrow morning, and then the next companion video the next day. So yeah, we talked about that on the John Campea Show this morning, but that's what happened to it. Let's see here. Ben Kenobi writes, my friend won't see Ant-Man and the Wasp because it's no longer 3D showtimes in local AMC. Do I tell him he's being stupid? At least I saw it already, not him. No, I mean, look, everybody's taste is their own. If somebody really prefers, I can't imagine why 3D is idiotic, but if somebody prefers 3D, that's what they prefer. Like, so who are you or I to say what they should or should not enjoy? I hate 3D. I think it's stupid. It's a useless gimmick, and I can't wait for it to die. But there are people who prefer it. And if they prefer it, then that's what they prefer. They're not being stupid for saying, I'd rather see the movie in the way that I prefer to see it. Nothing wrong with that, because I do the exact same thing. Like, honestly, if there was a movie I was, like, say, not super dying to see, but if there was a movie I was looking forward to, and I saw that only 3D showtimes are playing, unless it was a movie I was dying to see, like the latest Star Wars, the latest Marvel film, the latest DC film, unless it was something like that, I would probably go, no thanks. I'll wait to watch it, either until it's available non-3D or until it comes out on home video, honestly, because I hate 3D. So there's nothing wrong with somebody feeling the opposite of that. It's like if somebody prefers watching their films in 3D and really wants to see it in 3D, then that's their preference. So, no, I mean, if, look, and like I said, you can't criticize because I would do the exact same things in their position if the situation was reverse. So no, they're not being stupid. It's all subjective. They really like 3D, then they like 3D. You can't tell them they're being stupid for it if that's the way they prefer to consume their movies. So that's their choice. So just leave them to their choice. That's their prerogative, man. All right. Next one comes to us from Rodrigo Ortiz, who writes, last good Adam Sandler comedy. Oh, honestly, I can't remember the order in which they came out. I honestly cannot remember the order in which they came out. So I can't, it's been a while. I can tell you that. It's been a while. You know, I remember we talked the other day that the first film that I noticed, the film that made me realize that Adam Sandler's comedies have lost their magic was that one about the remote control, Click, or something like that. It's a movie where it was kind of charming, but it's the film that made me go, oh yeah, Adam Sandler's comedies are gone. They're no longer good. Now, you may still like them. That's great. That's a subjectivity film. But for me, as an audience member, I remember that was the film for me that went, and that was a long time ago. So I'm not Scott Mantz where movie release dates are like ingrained in my head. So I can't remember the order in which they came out, but probably whatever the comedy was preceding Click. That probably to me would be the last funny Adam Sandler movie. But again, I'd have to sit down and get a chronological order of all the Adam Sandler movies that have come out since. Let's see. Hudson Smith writes, does Tony Stark know about the quantum realm? Don't know. They've never really talked about it. It wouldn't make sense. He's more into mechanical engineering than he is with that sort of stuff. So my guess would be no, but we certainly can't say that definitively. They've never certainly had Tony Stark talk about quantum realm or anything like that in the movies, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know about it. So at this point, I would venture a guess that he doesn't. Just because, again, most of his area stuff is mechanical engineering. He might be the best mechanical engineer in the world. But he's not the smartest person in the MCU. We know that Shuri. The producers of the MCU have said Shuri is the smartest person in the MCU. Okay, so that's Shuri. So maybe Shuri knows about the quantum realm. I don't know. But yeah, just because we've never heard Tony talk about it doesn't mean he doesn't know about it. Like, we've never heard Tony talk about Sesame Street, but I'm pretty sure he knows about Sesame Street. You know what I'm saying? But I would guess no. But again, that's just a guess. We'll have to wait and see if they bring it up in the in Avengers 4. All right, next one comes to us from Virender Singh, who writes, hello, John. How is your mother now? Is she out of the hospital? Please pass on best wishes from me and my family. Well, thank you so much, Virender. And my mom watches just about every show that I do. So you have passed them on yourself. You've passed on your well. The last I heard from my sisters is that she may be getting out of the hospital really soon. So that's the last. So no, she's still in hospital, but they're hoping she's going to be able to get out of the hospital here pretty soon. So everything, the way I understand it, is going well. So everything's good, and hopefully she'll be home really soon. So, but thank you for taking the time to pass that along, Virender. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure my mom appreciates it too. All right, next one comes to us from Gio, who writes, have you seen Super? It's the OG Kick-Ass. Thoughts? Yeah, Super, starring Rainn Wilson, and is directed by James Gunn, the guy who did Slither, and of course Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's a very different kind of movie. And you could totally tell why it's a lower budget movie for sure. But yeah, it's kind of like an OG Kick-Ass. It was Kick-Ass before there was Kick-Ass. Not just kind of in style, but also, well, the style's a bit different, but in overall, you know, thematics, if you will. And James Gunn does such a good job with it. James Gunn's such a great director. And I know I talk about it all the time, but oh my God, I still know a lot of you guys have not watched Slither. Look, as much as I love Guardians of the Galaxy, it ain't James Gunn's best movie. James Gunn's best movie is Slither. It's brilliant. It is one of the most like when I think about the most underappreciated, underrated films, to me all time, I think about films like Stardust. To me, super underrated film. And there are a few other films as well, but one of them is Mystery Men is one of them, but another one of them is absolutely James Gunn's Slither. With Nathan Fillion, Elizabeth Banks, Michael Rooker. It's stupid good. What James Gunn did with that movie, making it both legitimately scary and absolutely hilarious, blending sci-fi, horror, comedy, all into this one incredible mixed bag. And I know you're asking about Super, but whenever James Gunn comes up, I just got to talk about Slither. The film is freaking genius. So seriously, guys, do yourself a favor. Next time you and your buddies are just getting together for a pizza night or whatever, and you pop in a movie for fun, make it Slither. Please believe me, it is so worth it. And you'll see why Kevin Feige decided to entrust a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy to this smaller film director, James Gunn. Once you see Slither, you'll get it. You'll totally get it. And it's just genius. So yes, Super is great as well. I really like Super. But dudes, check out Slither. James Gunn's absolute masterpiece. Okay. Curtis Lopez writes, you mentioned you saw Sorry to Bother You and you disliked it. I did. I did dislike it. I really disliked it too. One hell of a maniacal mess of a movie. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. I came out of that movie because Look, first of all, Lakeith is a brilliant performer. I really like him in Atlanta. I've been very excited about this movie. I thought the trailers looked really funny. And the movie is horrible. It's just terrible. And I came out of that movie, besides the fact, like, completely disillusioned. Like, that was an awful mess. Like, you can see in the movie, they're going for some really cool things. And so, like, the overall observations, it reminds me of Mother a little bit, the Jennifer Lawrence piece of garbage film. But it reminds me a lot of that, in that there was some really high concept stuff they were trying to do, but you still got to execute. And to me, the movie did not execute. And it's just a mess of a terrible movie. However, take that with a grain of salt, because if you're like me and you're looking forward to this movie, don't be completely dissuaded by me, because honestly, a lot of the other critics, the vast majority of the other critics, love this movie. And it's one of those things where I don't get it. Like, everybody else loves. The last time I checked, the movie had like a 95%. Hold on a second. Sorry to bother you, Rotten Tomato. Last time I checked, it had 94%. So let me see where it's at right now. It's at a 96% now, okay? It's gone up a couple degrees. This movie is shit. Like, it's terrible. But I'm just one guy. I'm just one film fan. Everybody else is loving it. So if you're somebody that, like me, were really interested in seeing the movie, you should probably still check it out. Don't just listen to what I'm saying, because everybody else loves this film. Everybody loves it. I thought it was complete garbage. Honestly, I think it's one of the worst films I've seen this year. And maybe part of that is because, like, if you guys have been watching my show, you know how excited I've been for this movie. Maybe it's that it's the most misleading ad campaign for a movie you will ever see. This movie is nothing like the trailers, like, at all. Not remotely like the trailers. That is not a subjective opinion. That is fact. The trailers for Sorry to Bother You do not represent the movie at all. All right. Now, whether or not you end up liking the movie, you may love what they do in the movie anyway. But I'm just saying, even if you love the movie, you will come back going, yep, John was right. The trailers are not reflective of the movie whatsoever. Yeah, and it's like, for me, and maybe it's just a part of my overall reaction about this movie is terrible, is because I was so excited about it. And, you know, wanting to see Lakeith in it and all that kind of stuff. And you got Tessa Thompson in there, and she's been so awesome and everything. And I just thought I understood what they were going for, but I feel like what they were going for was beyond their grasp. And it did not execute. It just was a mess of a film. I understand, like, some people, John, you just didn't understand. No, I understood it. I understood it perfectly well. I saw what they were going for, but they didn't execute. It was not a well-made movie. It's a terrible movie. Again, just my opinion. And again, take my opinion with a giant grain of salt, because everybody else loves it. Everybody else loves it. So, again, if this is a movie you've been looking forward to seeing, don't let just one guy, in this case me, don't just let one guy turn you off of seeing it. Because even this one guy who hated this movie is telling you, you probably should still go see it if it interested you, because everybody else is loving it. And you may go see it and say, John, you're off your rocker. So, I mean, again, if it's something that's interested you, don't just take one guy saying it's garbage. You got everybody else on the planet. Like, right now, there's 111 positive reviews, only 5 negative ones on Rotten Tomatoes right now. So, check it out. And maybe you'll love it like everybody else. Maybe you won't like it like me and Curtis. But whatever, if you're interested in it, you should still check it out. That's my best recommendation at this point. All right. Aiden Haspel writes, I saw Jared Leto's band 30 Seconds to Mars last night. They're a really good band, by the way. Damn, is there anything this man can't do? It was incredible. Such a multi-talented guy. He really is. He is truly a rock star. I mean, remember, he walked away from acting. This Academy Award winner walked away from acting for a number of years just to focus on the music. And 30 Seconds to Mars is a pretty damn good band. And they put on a hell of a live show. They really do. And Jared Leto's a legit rock vocalist. He's not just some Hollywood guy who ekes along pretending he can sing. The dude can sing. He really can, and they're an entertaining band. So I'm glad you had it. I'm just curious, was that like some kind of festival, Aiden? Did you just go see the show? Now, when you say you saw them, like, did you see a concert video, or did you actually go see them live? Or I'm just curious what environment you saw them in. Just jump in the, fire me off an email or jump in the comment section and let everybody know what it is, where you saw them. But you're right, man. They are actually a really damn good, talented band. I'm glad you had a chance to see them. All right. Curtis follows up with, but I highly recommend Leave No Trace. I was going to say Ben Foster's new film. It's a great father-daughter story, and it makes you real what Army veterans deal with. Then you follow up, feel what Army veterans deal with. Well, first of all, okay, I have not seen this movie yet. It's not opened in any theaters around me, so I'm guessing it's like home to video with a very limited release. Ben Foster is one of my favorite actors in the world. When you're talking about my favorite actors in the world, you're talking about Russell Crowe. You're talking about Chiwetel Ejiofor. You're talking about Ben Foster. I mean, he's right up there in my top 5. Like, and my greatest example for Ben Foster is, there was this little movie called 3:10 to Yuma a couple years ago. And it had my all-time favorite actor, Russell Crowe. And it had a lot of other people's favorite actor, Christian Bale. And it had Ben Foster. When you're in a movie with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, and you outact both of them, and you steal the show, and you steal the scenes from Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, there's something special. Ben Foster is a secondary character at best in this movie, and he steals every scene he's in. Wait, the guy who played Angel? Yep. He steals every scene he's in. Ben Foster is such an underappreciated actor. This dude is amazing. He's so good. If I was a producer, I'd put him in anything. I would put this guy in anything. Now, so again, I haven't had opportunity to see this. This movie's not playing anywhere near me. I had no chance to see it. But it's just the fact that it has Ben Foster in it has me kind of salivating about a bunch that I want to see it. So I'm glad you had a chance. I'm curious how you saw it. Was it like rent to stream, or was it actually playing in a theater near you? Because I'm in Los Angeles. I don't remember it playing anywhere near me. So, but anyway, I'm glad you had a chance to see it. All right. Next up, Rodrigo Ortiz writes, saw Ransom for the first time. Gibson and Sinise, bravo. The movie's great. Okay? That movie is great. And if I'm not mistaken, Thor's mother, Renee Russo, plays the mom. Hold a second. Let me just double check that. I just looked up the wrong Ransom. Hold a second. Where'd it go? There it is. Mel Gibson, Gary Sinise, and was that Renee Russo? Am I remembering it right? Yes, it was Renee Russo. And Delroy Lindo was in there too. Liev Schreiber's in there. Donnie Wahlberg was in there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people, but Renee Russo was the mom. Thor's mother, of course. It's a really good movie, man. Give me back my son! It's a great movie. Now, obviously, Mel Gibson has gotten himself into a lot of trouble, so we look, whenever we're talking about Mel Gibson films, right? I get it. It's a little, but holy crap. Ransom's for real, man. If you've never seen Ransom, check it out. It's a damn good movie. Very intense, great performances all the way around from everybody, including obviously Sinise, Gibson, Renee Russo, everybody. It's a first-rate movie. Check it out. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. All right, let's move on here. Mark Blaza writes, congrats for your nomination. Thank you very much. Well-deserved. Is there any way for us to watch you win those awards? Cross his fingers that you win. I honestly don't know off the top of my head. I know they have streamed it live in years past. I know this year it's being hosted. The show this year, the awards ceremony is being hosted by the Dancing with the Stars girl. I'm trying to remember her name. Hold a second. Let me look it up. Yeah. Not that I watch Dancing with the Stars. I don't. But obviously, like everybody else, I'm very familiar with the show Dancing with the Stars. And it is being hosted. That's her. Carrie Ann Inaba is hosting the show this year. She's hosting the awards ceremony. It's being held in Los Angeles this year at, where is it being held again? The name of, it's this really beautiful, damn beautiful place. And I cannot remember off the top of my head where it's being held. Hold on a second. It's being held at, that's it. The Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. Look it up. It's a gorgeous place. So that's what's being held on August 24th at 8 p.m. So I'm assuming they're going to stream it live. I mean, they have in years past. They're not giving any information on the streaming right now, but I'm guessing they're going to make it available for streaming, stuff like that. And by the way, I don't have a chance at winning either of the awards because, you know, last night, I told this story this morning, and I'll tell it again. So last night, once I found out I was nominated, I went and checked out like some of the other nominees, like for instance, Best Host, right? And there was this like this show with this Dr. Yu, and Dr. Yu is this woman, and her show is basically she's a doctor, and it's a docu series. It's not scripted. So she goes to like people's homes that have like these illnesses and talk about how the illnesses has affected their life and all that kind of stuff. And I'm watching 10 minutes of this, and I'm like, fuck, she's way better than me. Like she's awesome. And then see, for those of you who are Canadian, you know the CBC. CBC has a digital platform as well. And they've got this show with this guy who's nominated, this guy. And he like I watched 5 minutes of his stuff, and it's him talking about like grown-up stuff with children. And I'm watching like 5 minutes of this guy. I'm like, fuck, he's way better than me. And it just kind of went on from there, right? So I have no chance. I'm not being false, humble, nothing like that. I have no chance of winning anything this year. This is not like when we went in and won with the AMC Movie Talk, stuff like that, where I thought we had a chance. I have no chance, like none. I have zero chance. I'm shocked I'm even nominated, to be honest with you. So if you want to watch to see my name being called out as a nominee, great. Just don't book your evening free so you can sit and watch me win an award, because I'm not winning shit that night. Let's be very clear about that. And which is fine. It's totally fine. I am honestly just really happy that I got nominated, especially when I look at the people that I'm up against. That I'm in their company is like huge to me. I'm honored by it. I really am. So don't set your evening aside to watch me going up there to win anything, because that ain't going to happen. I'm just super honored that I got nominated. So, but thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate it. Luke Woodward writes, just watched The Last Jedi again, and I'm still really annoyed when Rose saves Finn when he's about to sacrifice himself. Could have been a good scene. Oh, I don't think it would have been a good scene at all. Look, there's lots that they did in that movie with Finn and Rose that I thought were weaknesses. Like lots of stuff they did. The whole Canto Bight stuff was just a waste of time. There's a lot they did in that movie with those two that I did not think was well done. However, him flying into that cannon wasn't going to do anything. I mean, they pretty much implied it just would have been a vain attempt to do something when really everybody knew it wasn't going to do anything. So he just would have been committing suicide for nothing. I mean, that's ultimately what it would have been. And to me, that would have been really stupid. To have a key character just die for nothing. If you're going to kill off Finn, who's been a key character in this series, you send him out with purpose. You send him out with a mission. You send him out in a blaze of glory. Not just suicide. I'm just going to fly my little speeder down the mouth of this gun for nothing. Because it wouldn't have done anything. Right? It just wouldn't have done anything. It just would have been evaporated. And that would have been even more stupid. Rose stopping him from doing it. I'll be honest with you, dude. I thought Rose stopping him from doing was the most... I'll say, I think that was the best thing she did in the movie. I think it's the best thing that they had that character do. Was that. So I'm going to disagree with you on that, Luke. I mean, I respect your opinion. Your opinion is no less valid than mine. I'm just saying, I look at that amongst all the other things they did in the movie that I thought was a waste of time for those characters. And I actually thought that one thing with her stopping him, that was probably the most significant and most worthwhile thing that they had the character do. Otherwise, you just would have had this central character dying for no reason. Just for nothing, out of nowhere. Just, oh, I'm just going to drive this down the barrel of the gun. And I can understand his thinking. He's mad. He's angry. He's disillusioned. He just feels like he wants to do something. Here's the First Order that ruined his whole life. And he just, so I get it. I get why he wanted to feel like he was doing something. But ultimately, it would have been for nothing. And you would have just been throwing away a key character for no reason. And the way I interpreted the scene and the way I watched it, it seemed like her stopping him from needlessly committing suicide was probably the most valuable thing she did in the movie, amongst all the other things that I thought had no value. I thought that was probably the most valuable thing she did in the movie. So that's just the way I see it. You see it different. That's why we're film fans, man. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Luke. All right, next one up. Hudson Smith writes, "Hey, John, I feel Thor 3 and Infinity War got Hulk somewhat right in the fact that they stress that Banner and Hulk are two different people." I don't know. But they're not, right? I mean, that's the thing. They're not. They are in many ways. They aren't in others. Like, if they were truly two completely different people, then Scarlet Witch wouldn't have a soothing effect on Hulk. Because they would be two different people, right? But it's the fact that Banner loves her that lets her have an effect on the big guy. So in some ways, sure, there's definitely a personality split there. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, they are still one and the same person. That's evidenced by the whole thing. Even in older Hulk films, the girl would have a soothing of like, like, why is that? Hulk's never met her before. Why does she have an effect on him now? Because they are still, Hulk is Banner, Banner is Hulk. And in some ways that they're not. But I also always felt that the way the other films talked about Hulk, even with the earlier Mark Ruffalo incarnation, they refers to Hulk as the other guy. The other guy spit it out, spit the bullet out. They always kind of did that. They always kind of treated it that same way. And yet at the same time treated them like they're the same person. So it's semantics. Granted, I admit it's a little bit of semantics for sure. I'll be honest with you, I prefer the non-talking Hulk. I really do. So far, I prefer the non-talking Hulk. But, I mean, I still like what they do with the Hulk in the last couple of movies he's been in. Whether it's Infinity War or Thor Ragnarok. I still liked it. I'm just saying, I think I kind of prefer non-talking Hulk. But John, in the comics, we're not talking about the comics. We're talking about the movies. And for me, I think I kind of prefer non-talking Hulk. But that's just me. I know a lot of people feel differently, and I certainly don't mind talking Hulk. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I think he ruins the movie or anything. Not at all. I'm just, I'm not digging talking Hulk. I don't know why. It's not working for me as well as non-talking Hulk. But that's just me. All right, next up. Brian Esparza writes, "Do you think Joaquin's Joker can surpass Heath's?" Yes, it can. I mean, that's the thing. Whenever we ask these questions, can this happen? Well, sure. It can. Will it? That's a different question. Can it? Sure. I mean, look, as silly as it is to sound, theoretically, if Warner Brother cast me to play Joker, there is a chance, no matter how infinitesimally small, that my Joker would be better than Heath Ledger's. Nearly impossible, but possible. Because anything's possible. Can Joaquin Phoenix's Joker surpass Heath Ledger's Joker? Sure. Yeah, of course. Of course it can. Is it likely? I wouldn't say it's likely. However, Joaquin Phoenix is, you throw one of the best, that term around a lot, but it really does apply to Joaquin Phoenix. He is one of the best. He is apex level. He is an apex level actor. That's something you can only say about 5, 6, or 7 actors in the world. Joaquin Phoenix is an apex level actor. He just is. So it's certainly possible. It's absolutely possible. And anybody who says, no, it isn't, well, then you're just sticking your head in the sand. Of course it's possible he could. When you have an apex level actor, and I'll tell you right now, Joaquin Phoenix is a better actor than Heath Ledger ever was. Like, we romanticize, and this is going to sound sacrilegious to some people, but it's just the truth. We romanticize how good of an actor Heath Ledger was because he gave us the best performance in any comic book movie ever. Yes, he did. And he died shortly thereafter. So we tend to romanticize how good he was. But the reality was, Heath Ledger, when he was on his A game, he was fantastic. But the reality was, Heath Ledger was a hit and miss actor. I'm sorry, he just was. You look down his filmography, Heath Ledger was a hit and miss actor. You know, sometimes he'd get himself into a role that was just right for him and he would really dig into it and he'd do something fantastic with it. Whether you're talking about a Joker or you're talking about a Brokeback Mountain or something like that, he could do that. However, the fact of the matter is there's also a number of films on his filmography that you go, he didn't really bring it in that movie. And it, not just because, remember, you can be a great performer in a bad movie. That's fine. But there are movies that he was in that you just look at his performance and it was like, yeah, he didn't really bring it, that one, you know? And so I feel very comfortable saying Joaquin Phoenix is a better actor than Heath Ledger ever was. He's purely a better actor. However, Heath Ledger was in the role of a lifetime that was like perfect for him, that he was able to somehow, some way, for whatever reason, for that role, he was able to find something in himself to bring to that character that was probably the greatest thing he ever did. And he won an Academy Award for it. And to all those naysayers, oh, he only won the Academy Award because he died. No, he didn't. He won the Academy Award that year because he earned it. He deserved that award. What he did with the Joker is, people today still, 10 years later, people still talk about Heath Ledger's Joker. It's still the best performance ever given in a comic book movie. So at least, certainly for villainous roles, certainly in DC history, you might make an argument for Hugh Jackman and Logan. Maybe you can make, but generally speaking, what Heath Ledger did was incredible. But is it possible Joaquin Phoenix could surpass it? Well, Joaquin Phoenix is a better actor than Heath Ledger ever was. So it's certainly possible. Can you get that perfect storm of just the right script, with just the right director, working with just the right actor, all at just the right time to create a character that surpasses that of Heath Ledger's Joker? I don't know if that's likely. There's just too many things that have to happen perfectly and get that perfect storm to happen like you did for Heath Ledger and his incarnation of Joker in a Christopher Nolan Batman film. You just had a perfect storm there. So the answer, the easy answer is, of course it's possible. The harder question is, will it? I doubt it will. But it's absolutely possible. Because like I said, Joaquin Phoenix is a better actor than Heath Ledger ever was. That doesn't mean that his match with this character will be as good of a DNA match as Heath Ledger was to his Joker. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm excited about it. I got to tell you, man, I'm excited about it. I really am. All right. Let's see here. Kevin Komachi writes, what happened to your tooth? Oh, God, again? Dudes, folks, I've answered this question like 50 times. Please. People in the chat board who have heard me answer this 50 times already, can you fill in, Kevin, so I don't have to tell the entire story again? Not brushing off your question, Kevin. I've just answered it 20 times already, so I'll just let one of the guys in the chat board fill you in on the details of what happened. Brian Esparza writes, what's the worst successful actor working today? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That's something I'd have to sit down and think about and list out, and I couldn't do that off the top of my head. I really couldn't. All right, Brian follows it up with, any tips for aspiring filmmakers? Well, I'm the wrong guy to ask. I mean, I've done some filmmaking, but I am by no means a filmmaker. So I'm the wrong guy to ask. I will tell you the same advice I give to writers and all that kind of stuff, though. By the way, it depends on what kind of, are you a cinematographer filmmaker? Are you a writer filmmaker? Are you a producer filmmaker? Are you a directing filmmaker? Are you an acting filmmaker? I mean, so I don't really know what you're going at there when you ask me for an aspiring filmmaker. Well, that's like saying, any advice for somebody who has a job? Well, it depends on what the job is. So, but the one bit of advice I always give anybody in any creative field is this. Just do something. One of the best analogies I've ever got, and it goes back to my days when I was a church kid. You know, I remember my youth minister told me something once that has stuck with me, and I think it's very applicable for filmmaking, for writing, for all that kind of stuff. And, you know, people always used to ask my youth ministers, you know, what do you think God wants me to do with what should I do with my life? And I remember my youth minister at the time, his name was Steve, and he said something that has stuck with me all the way through, although I think the principle transfers over to this. He said, you know, God will have a lot easier time steering your car if you start moving, because you can't steer. Here's the key. You cannot steer a parked car. That's profound, right? You cannot steer a parked car. You can turn the wheel, but you're not steering the car because it's not moving. So just get moving. Start doing something, and then direction can start to happen. My advice with writing, because, you know, I wrote a novel, I've written screenplays, whatever. My best advice to anybody in that kind of creative field is just write. Who cares? If you have nothing in your head to write, if you have no good ideas, who cares? Just start writing. Start writing gibberish. Start writing nonsense. Start writing, so there was this man one day who went to the store to buy some milk. And as he was going to the store to buy some milk, he saw a quarter on the ground. And he thought, oh, I should pick up this quarter. Because just the other day, my little daughter wanted a quarter for a gumball machine. I'm just making that up as I'm going, right? So who cares if it's gibberish? Just start writing. Because you can't steer a parked car. So work. People, too many people in creative industries use roadblocks, and we all hit roadblocks, but as an excuse to sit down and do nothing, because inherently we're all lazy people. And so it's like, oh, I can't come up with a good idea, so I'm just going to sit around and do nothing until I come up with a good idea. Bull. Bull. Do something. Keep doing something. Even if it's something that seems unrelated, even if it's something that's a terrible idea, but do something, because it's once you start moving, you can start to steer yourself. Little nuggets of ideas will start coming out of the plethora of garbage you're spewing out. You know, but just nothing good's going to happen if you just sit there. And I tell people that too with other careers. Like people ask me all the time, John, how can I be a film pundit full time? Well, first of all, think about doing something else. But if you really want to be a film pundit first right now, what are you doing right now to make it happen? Well, nothing. I can't get anybody to hire me. Shut up. You're just being lazy. Do something today that moves you. So if you want to be a full-time full pundit, okay, record a podcast of yourself reviewing one of your old favorite movies. What's that going to do? Well, it's going to get you moving. And then tomorrow, do another one. And the day after that, write a piece about something you really like about movies. And then the day after that, write something else. And then maybe the day after that, put together a little website of your own. Just do something that gets you moving and heading in a direction instead of sitting on your ass using it as an excuse to be lazy. Because I found so many people, both when it comes to web stuff, YouTube stuff, wanting to be in a creative industry, what they really want is somebody to come and tell them where the magic button is. Where's the magic button I press to be successful? Where's that quick fix? Where's that thing? Where's that, you know, thing like, what is it? The Voice, that I can just get on and do something and instantly be famous. Where's it? It doesn't exist. Too many people are lazy. We're all lazy. Let's just admit that we're all lazy inherently. It's just some of us are better at getting over our laziness, but we all have it, right? We just use it as an excuse to sit on our asses and wait for something, some opportunity to come that we feel entitled should come to us. Bull. Do something. Work your ass off. Even if it doesn't seem like it's heading in the right direction, if you can't think of what to do, just do something. So I think that advice applies to filmmaking as well. It's like, I've never done anything in filmmaking. I don't know where to do. Well, you know what then? Pick up your phone, turn on the video camera, and shoot a 5-minute short of, here's what I did today. That may seem pointless, but it's something, and it's getting you moving. And when you're moving, you cannot be steered in the right direction unless you're moving. So that's my best advice. Move your car so you can steer it. Do something. So that's the best advice I have. Anyway, Murray Reiche writes, it's so funny what's going on in Twitter lately. Some of these so-called Star Wars fans are trying to make a list of YouTubers to avoid that, like The Last Jedi or Kathleen Kennedy. Fucking losers. Losers, losers, losers. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with not liking those movies. And there's nothing wrong if you don't like Kathleen Kennedy. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But the moment you try to organize something to put down people who do like what you don't like, or put down people who don't like what you do like, congratulations, you're a pathetic loser. Congratulations, you're a pathetic loser. It's fine that you hate something. Like, I have movies I hate. You have movies you hate. Nothing wrong with that. That's part of being a film fan. But the moment you move from that to we now, like, I'm in a chat board and I see somebody in the chat board saying they like a movie I don't like. I'm going to name call them. The moment, you know, you say, like, I'm going to organize to try to make movements against people who like what I don't like, well, then you're a pathetic loser. I mean, there's nothing else to it. Nothing wrong with you not liking the movies you don't like. There's nothing wrong with you liking the movies you do like. There's nothing wrong with that. That's film fandom, man. I like movies, I hate movies. You like movies, you hate movies. There's nothing wrong with that. Where it crosses the line into toxic fandom, where that stuff becomes toxic, is when you move from just, I'm somebody who hates a movie, to, I hate a movie and I'm going to attack anybody that likes it. Then congratulations, you've become a cancer. You are a cancer in film fandom. And you're a life-sucking drain on everybody else. And you're pathetic. So stop. Hey, I've done things that are pathetic. Then a friend of mine says, John, what you're doing is pathetic. It's like, oh shit, I should stop that then. So just stop. You don't have to like any movie. You don't have to dislike any movie. Like what you like, hate what you hate. Say what you like, say what you hate. But the moment you cross a line, anybody, once you cross a line into saying, oh, I'm going to attack that person simply because they don't like what I like, or because they do like what I don't like, then that's pathetic. Hey, look, I've always said, man, if you hate The Last Jedi because it didn't work for you, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Look, everybody loves the original Blade Runner. I wish I could say I do so I could fit in with everybody else, but I'm going to always be honest with my opinion. I don't like the original Blade Runner. I wish I did, but I don't. And I don't apologize for that. But I'm not going to start attacking people who do like it. I'm not going to start saying, oh, if that person likes that movie, well, then you're this, this, and this. I mean, that's where that's the difference between being a film fan and being a toxic film fan. And yeah, there's a growing segment of toxic film fandom. People love to hate. People love to hate. And they love having other people that they can make the scapegoats for their hate. And that's what they love to do. It goes I mean, it's a long storied tradition in humanity, right? It's a long storied tradition in humanity that we love to hate. We thrive on hate. And at some point, when you hang out in that hate pool for long enough, you start to want to make people the targets of your hate. And that's what it is. And I mean, ultimately, it grew so much. That's ultimately what just made me not want to do a Star Wars show anymore. Because there's so much hatred out there. And there's so many people out there that are willing to capitalize on that hatred and want to fuel that hatred and cash in on that hatred, to be quite frank and honest with you. I mean, there are people out there who just jump on the hate train just to get the clicks. I mean, there are. But, you know, hey, whatever, you know, it is what it is. It's an unfortunate part of the existence of fandom, which is part of the reason why, like, I'm doing my panel at Comic-Con this year, is to try to encourage more people to get involved in online stuff. You don't have to do it as a career. Do it for fun. Do it as a hobby. We need more people like you guys involved in online film punditry, involved in online film fandom, making your own podcasts, making your own YouTube videos, stuff like that, because we need more positive voices. Positive doesn't just mean say you like everything. No, positive even in the way, look, I really don't like the new movie, Sorry to Bother You, right? I really hate it. I thought it was a terrible movie. But I'm going to encourage you to go see it because everybody else is loving it, and I'm not going to attack anybody else who does. Just that simple. I'm telling you, there are these people who disagree with me. So instead of attacking those people, I'm telling you, you might want to listen to those people. Because I have this opinion of Sorry to Bother You. Doesn't work for me. I don't find it to be a good movie. But there are these other people who seem to like it. You might want to check it out. You might want to listen to them. But it's up to you. Right? So when I say we need more positive voices in the online field, I don't mean to say you like movies you don't like. No, say what you don't like. Say what you do. But we need more people involved to stem this tide of this cancerous, dark, destructive movement right now in film fandom that's really threatening to just destroy it all. And we need a change. We really do need a change. Anyway, Murray Reich writes, oops, where did it go? There was a big jump there. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Murray Reich writes, and your name was one of them. Well, of course, one of mine. Look, I am unapologetic. I liked Star Wars The Last Jedi. I liked it. I'm going to say that I liked it. Because I did. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie just so I can fit in with whatever your narrative is. But nor will I crap on you if you don't like it. Unless you're one of these knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, basement-dwelling cousin humpers who is saying it's not good because how dare it have women in it? How dare it have black people in it? How dare they have somebody who may not be the traditional straight heterosexual in it? If you're one of those knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, cousin-humping, throwbacks, then yes, I will be critical of that. But I will never be critical of anybody who just doesn't like The Last Jedi because they just flat out didn't think it was a good movie. I have very many close friends who hate that movie. And that's fine, because that's film fandom. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm never going to budge from that. I'm never going to budge from that. And there are some people who are so scared of people who are just saying that they legitimately like a movie that they didn't like. And I don't know why they're scared, but that's what they are. They're frightened. They're very insecure people. So therefore, they need to name call, right? They need to say, oh, he's saying he likes something that I don't like. Oh my God, I can't handle that. So they'll attach labels, like they'll say shill. What shill really means, here's the internet definition of shill. The internet definition of shill is somebody who likes something that I don't like. That's what the definition of a shill is. But, it is what it is. Again, I will always encourage people who like The Last Jedi, never denounce or put down anybody who says they don't like it because they don't like it. If you don't like it because they don't like it, there's nothing wrong with that. But I will always stand up and talk about people who try to make, when it becomes like, remember when the first trailer for Star Wars, The Force Awakens came out and they saw Finn and there was that whole movement online about boycott The Force Awakens. They're trying genocide on the white race and they're blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. You're a knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, basement-dwelling cousin humper. If that's your thing. Because that has nothing to do with the movie. That's about your whole backwards thinking ideology about how some people should be superior than others. And that's bullshit, and I'm never going to not talk against that. And if you're one of them, sorry. If you're somebody who's a film fan and you just don't like the movie, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. I will stand up for you not liking that movie. That's fine if you hate it. There's lots of movies I like that you probably hate, and lots of movies I hate you probably like, and that's part of the fun of being a film fan. But yeah, there's a very, very dark corner of the whole thing of a lot of heavy, heavy racism, sexism, that. And these people won't want to acknowledge it. That's the thing. That's one of the really destructive things right now is there's a lot of people who will not even remotely acknowledge that there. Pretend like all those Rotten Tomatoes fan reviews don't exist. Pretend all that garbage that was spewed on Kelly Tran's social media doesn't exist. Pretend the boycott The Force Awakens because they dared to have a black guy in it doesn't exist. The reason they pretend it doesn't exist is because they get a lot of clicks from the racists, homophobic, sexists. And they don't want to piss off the racist, homophobic, sexists. They themselves may not be racist, homophobic, sexist, but they know that they've got the ear of the racist, homophobic, sexist, and they don't want to piss them off. I challenged a while ago, I put out a challenge, said, hey, look, I want to encourage anybody who constantly makes videos, and there's lots and lots of YouTubers that do this, but anybody who makes these videos about constantly trashing Star Wars and all that kind of stuff, I want to challenge you. Make a video denouncing, like, first of all, stand up and say, I hate these movies because I think they're terrible movies. I think they're poorly written. I think they're this, whatever. That's fine. But I challenge them to say, make a video stating, however, one of the reasons I do not dislike, one of the reasons that I dislike Star Wars Last Jedi is not because it has women in the lead roles. One of the reasons that I don't like The Last Jedi is not because they dare have a black guy in it. And those of us who are Star Wars fans that do not like The Last Jedi, we reject sexism and racism and homophobia. We reject that. We don't want that to be a part, and we don't want to be identified with that. We hate these movies because we think they're bad movies. But we don't want to be identified with anybody who is hating on it because of they're racist, they're sexist, they're homophobic. But they're not going to make those videos. They're not going to make those public statements. Why? Because there's so much great hate out there that they want to get those people's clicks. They know a lot of the people who come and watch their videos and all that kind of stuff are people in that community. And they don't want to piss them off. It's true. They just want the clicks. And so even though I think a lot of these people who make these videos just do it because they hate the movies and all that kind of stuff, and they themselves are not racist, sexist, or whatever, I think a lot of them will not make those videos denouncing the racism and sexism and homophobia and all that garbage and cancerous stuff that is out there. The reason they won't make those videos denouncing that stuff is because they know that they get a lot of their clicks from those people, and they don't want to piss them off. It is what it is. And look, when I call out those people, I lose. Well, I mean, I've never had a single day where I've lost subscribers, but I'm sure my growth, has hurt and I've lost viewers. I'm sure I've lost viewers when I've said that, look, if you don't like Star Wars The Last Jedi because, you don't like Star Wars The Last Jedi, that's perfectly fine. I celebrate that because there are Star Wars movies I don't like. I don't like the prequels. So there, you got Star Wars movies you don't like. I got Star Wars movies I don't like. And we can all be friends together. That's great. However, if you're one of the knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, cousin-humping basement dwellers, who, for you, it's about keep women in their place, keep black guys out of my movies, and don't you dare ever show somebody who may not be a heterosexual, straight, white dude like me, if that's your attitude, you're on the wrong side of history. 30 years from now, we're going to be looking back, laughing. Our kids are going to be looking back and laughing that these animals lived. And so I make no apology for that. But I know when I say that kind of stuff, I do lose some viewers because of it, and I'm perfectly comfortable with that. I am. However, there are people who don't want to lose those viewers, and they're never going to do anything about it. So it's really one of the most tragic things. You know what? Chris Gore, he's doing a panel at Comic-Con this year. In the same room I'm doing mine, in the Neil Morgan Auditorium, about 2 hours after mine is done, and he's focusing on toxic fandom. And I cannot wait for that panel. I'm very excited. Robert Meyer Burnett's going to be on that panel as well. I'm very excited about going and watching that panel. I think that panel is going to be awesome because it's something that needs to be addressed more in our community. But anyway, that is what it is. All right. Chris Warden writes, just saw Gaudi last night. Not bad, but not great either. However, I really enjoyed Travolta's performance. Yeah, it's just one of those ones that I just opted not to see. I mean, it looked terrible to me. Every review I read was awful. The few people I know who did go to see it said they didn't like it, so I took a pass on it. Now, all film is subjective, so it may have still worked for me. Who knows? I just made the option to, you know what, I'd rather have an evening at home than go to see Gaudi. That was just, that was my attitude on that. But you watched it. It sounds like you at least got a little bit out of it, and maybe Travolta's not all that bad in it. That's good to hear, so thanks for sharing that, Chris. All right. Der Wunderbar writes, Sin City is a perfect Frank Miller adaptation. I don't know. I thought it was it was a very good movie. Sin City's a really good movie. But it was also very, very stylized. And I think, you can't do many movies that way. The style in which they did Sin City, there was a what's the word I'm looking for? There was a novelty about that. And some people think novelty is a bad word. It's not. Novelty can be a very, very good thing. And in this case, it was a very good thing. There's a novelty about it and the style in which they shot it and in which they did it that I don't think you could do very often. And so it was a very ambitious idea that Robert Rodriguez had to do it that way. I don't know that I call it a perfect thing, but it was damn good. It was damn good. But then you did another Sin City movie and you tried to replicate it, right? Do the same style, all that kind of stuff. And it was quite bad. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, I thought was quite bad. As much as I loved the first one, I thought the second one was quite bad. And again, it's that issue of, it's not about formula, because they try to just replicate the exact same formula, but it didn't work. And it's all about execution more than formula. So where it worked, it's really interesting how it worked for Sin City, but they did practically the exact same thing for Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, and yet it didn't work the second time around. So it's an interesting kind of case study in that regard. But anyway, yeah, the first one's really, really good. Let's see. Ben Kenobi writes, halfway through the final season of Wings, man. I haven't watched Wings in a long time. I'm really kind of envious that you're watching it for the first time. If I remember, I actually didn't think the last season was all that good. I might be thinking of another show, but I think I remember thinking that the last season of Wings, it was starting to fade. But again, it's been so long since I've seen it, I might be thinking about another show. Let me know what you think about it when you're done with it, Ben. All right. Curtis Lopez writes, I don't get why people say that Wreck-It Ralph 2 is a self-pat on the back by Disney with all their references. Can't they wait to see how they are used in context? Well, I mean, look, first of all, there's not a lot of people saying that. There are some people saying that. That's fine. I don't know. Look, it's one of those things that if you want to complain, you're going to find something to complain about. If they used all references from other studios, they'd go, so Disney's not willing to make jokes about themselves and poke fun at themselves. And then if they do put in references, they go, they're just patting themselves on the back. They're just wanting to reference their own stuff. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. But I honestly don't sense a lot of people doing that. I think there are some people doing that. And again, there's nothing wrong with being predictive. Like if people think Wreck-It Ralph will be bad, fine. If they think what they're seeing out of Wreck-It Ralph so far is bad, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you go into the movie with an open mind and then see it. So I have no problems with people being critical of things that they are seeing. Although I do think it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But as long as they just go into the movie and then judge it for what it is, that's fine. Look, that's happened to me. I hated the look of Power Rangers. I ended up liking the movie. I hated the look of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not the second one that just came out recently, but the first one that came out. I actually ended up quite liking it. I thought that the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie was going to be horrible. I talked for about a year and a half about how it was a stupid idea and it was going to be bad. I actually ended up quite liking it. I mean, so there's that, but I don't really have a problem with people being predictive. Being predictive is part about being a film fan. If you think something looks bad, then it looks bad. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Murray Reich writes, 5 movies in 1 week in December would be a problem for A-list members who are limited to 3. Yeah, that's true, right? So you've got now, all in one 7-day window, you've got Mortal Engines, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Bumblebee, Aquaman, Alita Battle Angel, Welcome to Marwen, Holmes and Watson, and Mary Poppins, all in a 7-day window. It's going to stretch the limits of the old AMC A-list a little bit, isn't it? Some people might be tempted to go, oh, but hey, then you can use your movie pass. Well, good luck. Since you can't book your tickets in advance, any one of those movies, good luck to you trying to get a movie the day of and trying to just show up and get a decent ticket. That's going to be challenging. But yeah, you're right. That's going to put a strain on the A-list members right there. That's going to put a strain on the A-list members. Fortunately for me, I am also a Cinemia member, so I'll use my Cinemia, which I can book tickets online in advance with. I'll be using a mixture of my Cinemia and my A-list card that week to make sure I get to see everything. Let's see. Kick It to the King Productions writes, congrats on the nomination. So awesome. Thank you so much, Kick It. I really appreciate that. Thanks for mentioning that. Dur Wonderbar writes, I think Fantastic Four from 2005 is quite good. Got the extended edition at home. Seen it, John? No, because I've mentioned this on the show the other day. I really don't care about extended editions all that much. To me, the movie in the theater is the movie. So I'm not one who rushes out to watch extended editions. I did not think the movie was very good. But hey, all film's subjective, man. If you liked it, that's awesome. I'm glad somebody got some joy out of it. I'm glad you had a good time with it. I think there are good things about it. I thought Michael Chiklis is the Thing. For Man in Costume as Thing, that was actually pretty good. I thought Chris Evans was a really good Johnny Storm. I thought they got the right actor to play Doom. I didn't quite love what they did with Doom. I thought the look of Doom was really good. There were positive things about it. It's just that, you know, overall I found the movie kind of poor, like most other people did too. But you liked it, and I know you're not alone. I'm sure there are other people who liked it too, man. And that's the beautiful thing about the subjectivity of film. All right, last question today, guys. Well, I'll take 2 more questions. I'll take Gabe and I'll take Ben Heusa's question, and then we're going to have to wrap it up because we've gone over an hour already. All right, this one comes to us from Gabe Campbell, who writes, I can't wait for Bruce Will and Sam Jackson, I think you meant Bruce Willis, and Sam Jackson to be together again in Glass. I hope Bruce Willis actually gives a shit. He's being filmed and delivers a performance worth talking about, unlike Death Wish. Oh my God. Oh my God, Gabe. It's just, every second, and I'm a Bruce Willis fan. But oh my, if you guys didn't see Death Wish, and not many of you did because it's a very low box office, it's a terrible movie, don't bother. But every second that Bruce Willis was on screen, you could almost in your head see him screaming at the camera, "I don't give a shit!" Like you could just tell, he didn't care. He just did not give one shit. Not one did he care. He sleptwalked through that entire movie. It was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable and quite frankly embarrassing to watch. And if Bruce Willis was a crappy actor, you wouldn't even notice it because he's a crappy actor. Bruce Willis, when he's on his A game, he is a great actor. And that's why it's when he doesn't care and he's sleepwalking through a movie, you can see it from a mile away because he is such a good actor. We know how good he can be. So I'm with you, Gabe. I've got my fingers crossed that he cares about this project. He really liked Unbreakable. He just talks about Unbreakable all the time. He loves that movie. So here's fingers crossed that maybe he realizes he is losing more and more relevance in Hollywood and that people have been hating his performances. And now he's got a project he's genuinely has cared about in the past. Here's hoping the Bruce Willis we all know and love will come out. Kind of like the Beast comes out of James McAvoy. Here's hoping that acting Beast comes out of Bruce Willis, the one that we all know is there, the one that we all know he's capable of, and he actually delivers something like he cares. Because when he cares, he's great. He's great. So fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. All right, last question of the day, and then don't worry about all the rest of them. We'll get into the companion videos, guys. Last question of the day comes to us from Ben Hayusa, who writes, "Finally saw Ant-Man and the Wasp last night. Everything you said about the movie had some fun thoughts. Fun, not as good as the first one. I laughed more on this one, though, to be honest. Wasp is badass, weak villain, and I like the Ghost character. I hope to see her again." Yeah, at the end of the day, look, it almost sounds contradictory to say, but it's true. And don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything here. The Ghost character is a weak villain, but it's actually used right. Not every movie needs a strong villain. You don't always need a strong villain, depending on what your movie's going for. And this movie certainly did not have a strong villain, yet I liked the Ghost character. You know, the Ghost character isn't a threat. The Ghost character is an inconvenience. And it's hard, for those of you who haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, you're probably thinking, how does that make sense? If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I mean. It is a weak character. It's a weak villain, I should say. But it's an interesting character. And I hope we get to see more of Ghost in the future, too. They're already talking about it and stuff like that. But so I hope we get to see Ghost in the future, too. But yeah, a very enjoyable film. I like the first Ant-Man and the Wasp better than this one, to be honest with you. But still very enjoyable. Almost everybody seems to be loving it. So make sure you guys check it out when you get a chance. All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for joining me. As I said, guys, for all those questions that are still waiting, they will be in the next companion video that will be going up tonight and tomorrow, at least part one. I might break it up into a couple of different parts because we've got a bunch of them that are getting backed up right now, so I got to get through all those. So I might break them into a couple parts. So thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for being a part of the film fan community, standing around, talking about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all that kind of good stuff. I really appreciate you guys being here. So that'll do it for me for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until next time, folks, bye-bye.